pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hurrah! Approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as is.
Second. Councilor Padilla. Councilor Lucero.
Yes.
Councilor Padilla.
Yes.
Councilor Ugarte.
Yes.
Councilor Garcia.
Yes, sir.
Citizens to address the council. Barbara Wesley.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to you, Mayor and Councilman. The first thing on my agenda is the Animal Care Center. I know that within 1 week, there were 3 transports. One from New York State and 2 in Arizona. One group from Arizona came down and picked up dogs and cats, and another was transported from the office here into Arizona. And they're looking now at some programs in Colorado to transport dogs and cats to. The other thing that I wanted to mention is Roberta's Place is having their Festival of Wreaths. They're almost sold out, and this is their only big fundraising program in the year. And they serve a lot of families that are suffering from domestic violence. Now, as adults, I don't have as much sympathy for the adults as I do for the children, because there are a lot of children that are at Roberta's Place. And oftentimes at Christmas, they don't have a family that can go to them and provide gifts and that sort of thing. So with your dollars, buying the wreaths helps to fund a lot of the things that Roberta's Place needs. The other is the community pantry. And we always need volunteers at the community pantry. I think of Dwight Castendick. Not only has he been serving every single week at the community pantry for years, but he also serves on Roberta's Place board. And this man has done an outstanding job. I should also mention that I'm at a loss for words. Can you imagine? Carolyn Newton has, you have an opportunity to purchase dog food. The Caesars is there cheaper than you can buy it at Walmart. And she has a lot of gift items. If you're interested in pets, she's got a lot of items for sale for gifts that would really make great gifts for the Christmas holidays. She spends thousands of dollars every year helping with the Animal Care Center. So those things need attention, especially right at this time of year. And for those that are parents, I know it's hard for you with children that are at home right now, but hang in there. It's going to pass at some point in time. Okay? Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Barbara. Anybody else out there want to say something? Discussion items, public comment, discussion on the charter. Anybody out there want to discuss the charter? I'll tell you, we are not in compliance with the charter. Everybody knows why, I'm sure. The lawsuit behind the doors. Okay? Approval of the regular city council meeting minutes from 11/9.
I'll make a motion that we approve the regular city council meetings for 11/9/2020.
I'll second.
Councilor Padilla.
I'll watch it there.
Okay, abstain. Councilor Lucero.
Yes.
Councilor Ugarte.
Yes.
Councilor Garcia.
Yes.
Ordinance 020-1248. Who's handling that one?
Do you want to?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
You know, one thing before we get into this, real quick, on this bond thing. You were here at our last meeting for bonds, right?
This is.
I know, hang on. I'm going into something totally different here.
Okay.
The night that we were hearing that you were speaking, and I did not take that phone call because it wasn't from one of my kids. It was from the owner of the Red Lion. When I left here, I called him back. He wants everybody on this council in this town to know he wants nothing to do with these people that are trying to get those bonds through. Period. They cannot come up with the $25,000 seed money. They can't come up with anything. And he wants everybody on this council to know, and he said he will come here, if need be, to say that he is against this. Because they have no say in what's going on over there, and they're trying to hijack his property. And those were his words to me, the night of the last meeting. Period. Okay? Now go ahead.
Sure. So those are the IRB bonds that we were just discussing the last meeting. And I'm here now talking about the USDA revenue bonds for the water and sewer projects that you have on your books. What the USDA has spoken with Dawn and has been working with Dawn for many months, they're requiring the structure of the financing to be through these revenue bonds. So that's why I'm here in front of you today and not Dawn, who's usually up here talking to you about these USDA loans. So what I have in front of you, and I'm going to be presenting on items 3 and 4, which are the two bond ordinances, 1248 and 1249, I believe. These are for, again, as you all know, the purpose is for the improving and constructing of the water and wastewater systems. And the USDA has agreed to finance $3,323,000 for the water system improvements and $3,008,000 for the wastewater system improvements. So the bond ordinance in front of you, they have not only the authorization of the projects, but it also talks about the interim financing, which is with the Rural Community Association Corporation. It talks about the fact that these will be divided into 40 annual payments for the debt service payments. And it has the interest rate for the water, it is 1.5%. And for the wastewater, it's 1.875% for those interest rates. This also includes that we will be looking to close on these bonds. We're hoping February, and that's one of the reasons why there's a blank in the maturity schedule. Usually what we have is 6 months after the close date. That first day of that month would then be when your annual payments are due. But as you probably noticed, there's a blank on that maturity schedule. That will be filled out once we have a close date set with the USDA, and it will also be included in the form of the bond, so that when we come back to you with all the closing documents, then all of that information will be put in. But it usually, and if we close in February, it would most likely be the 1st of August when those annual payments would be due. And what the USDA has done is they've made that each payment is separately equal as to 40 different payments. So they just divided the total amount into those. So each payment would be the exact same payment.
What is the payments?
The payments are for
Someone asked the same question on the next one, you might as well just give me both of those,
I will
please.
look for both of them. All right. For the water, it's $110,856.
That's
Annual
a year,
payment.
annual, right?
Yes,
Okay.
annual payment. And for the wastewater, it's $107,000, $107,208,000. $107,208, excuse me. And that's split up into 40 equal payments, which for both.
Well, that was,
A little bit over the 3 million for each that they're providing.
Yeah, we didn't obviously budget for this, did we?
Well, we'll be getting property tax, right, from
That's-
the
that's-
bonds?
Yeah, that's not my question.
this
We
is-
didn't put this in our budget.
No, so it won't fall in this budget year. It'll
That's what I
fall
wanted
in
to hear.
next budget
That's what I
year.
wanted to hear, that it falls
The
in
first
next
payments,
budget year,
right?
first.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Actually,
It will.
excuse
Is
me,
that-
Mayor, Council, City Manager, we won't go to construction until about 2 years.
Oh, yeah,
Next year's
no,
plan, so
I'm just worried about where the payments are falling and when they start falling, Donald.
They won't do about 3-4 years.
I mean, because we're not done with this year yet, guys, and me and Laura have been talking, and I'm telling you guys, we're gonna be hurting. We're gonna be hurting when this is said and done, guys. Our gross receipts taxes are up. Our water revenues, our trash revenues, everything else is in the ground, guys. And that pays our bills. That's what I'm telling you. We just need to be careful, guys, because we're not done with this thing yet. And right now, our revenues are way, way, way down. Sure, the gross receipts tax looks great, but the gross receipts tax don't pay our bills. Our water bills pay our bills. And everything that has a big water bill is closed. Period. Schools, all the businesses, trash, everything, guys, and we've had a bunch of empty houses. People are exiting this town. So I'm just saying, that's something that we all need to look at very carefully. Because we're sticking ourselves in debt with this. Okay? Go ahead. Sorry, I just,
No, but very important information.
Okay, so go ahead.
Appreciate that. Are there any questions? I think I've hit the high points of these ordinances, but if you have any questions, please let me know.
you got mine. I went through them very fine tooth, and you got the ones I was worried about. Thank you very much. Any questions, Fred?
negative, no.
How about you, Rick?
I never heard when did the payment start? Did you say 2 years, 3 years? When?
About 3 years. Councilor.
About 3 years.
Yes.
Anything else, Rick?
Okay. Just want to make sure that, we can make those payments. Is that something that, we're going to budget for?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. All right.
Fred?
That's all I have.
Catch me up on this a little bit, would you? Now, these bonds that we're talking about, is that for renovating our water structures in the city? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, and
Go ahead,
Don can
Paul.
give you some more background.
We've been making action on these items for several times this year. Remember we put up the water improvements, phase 1, and the wastewater improvements, phase 1? This is that project. However, these amounts, they're both two $5 million projects, but these are the loan amounts of those projects. The other, between these loan amounts and the 5 million, that's grant. That's why that amount's not before you guys, but the loan amount's before you guys. Because that's the amount we gotta pay back. Like I said, design this coming year, construction the following year, and in most cases, we're not gonna finish construction that first year. So we're looking at 2003, 2004 until it's done, and then shortly thereafter, the payments start. But we have gone through a overwhelming application process. They look at the financials, they look at all that kind of stuff, and we've been approved. Now granted, the mayor is correct, we are at different times. So, but we have gone through, the application process and review, and we are approved. Just another step forward. Thanks.
Anything else, Fred? Eric? Pleasure of the council. I say go for it, guys. To be perfectly honest with you. But we just need to be careful moving forward on how we're spending our money and what we're doing. Because we need this, period. So I say, yeah, we need to move forward with this, but we need to put a lot of attention over the next few years with what we're doing, guys. That's all I'm saying. We need to move forward with this.
Well, I agree with the mayor, and I make a motion that we pass ordinance 20-1248.
Second,
I second.
Councilor Padilla,
Yes.
Councilor Lucero,
Yes.
Fred,
Yes.
Eric?
Yes, sir.
Second one, 2012-49. Any questions or discussion before we move on this one?
Same thing, right, Linda?
Yeah,
This
it's
is the
same thing.
wastewater,
It's-
the
this
first
one's
was the
wastewater.
water.
So this one's 107,000 a year. So we're looking at $217,000 a year, starting in 2024.
So let me ask you a quick question. You said this one, this particular item is 107,000 a year. Is that, do we pay that on a yearly basis or on a monthly basis?
It's a yearly basis.
Yearly basis?
Yes,
So it's all comes to due at one time?
correct.
Okay.
It'll be $207,000. You know, and in all actuality, we could basically divvy it out every month if we wanted to. We would just put it on the side, or it's untouchable until the end of the year and then.
So we're talking about maybe putting,
Just like we
put an
have,
assignment in
just
the
like we
budget.
have the ordinance in the, I mean, it'll be in the budget, $217,000. But instead of coming up with it all at the end of the year, we go ahead and we move, what is it, come out to $15,000 a month. We just, and then at the end of the year, bam, there's your check. It's basically the same thing we're doing with the ordinance of the tear down of the buildings. There's that little bit from the water bills that go every single quarter into that little fund. It's basically the same thing, but it'll be reliable on the manager and the finance
Right.
person. And for us to do our job and our due diligence and to check it out, guys. That's what this is about. Like I said, we need to move forward with this. We need it, guys. There's no sense not to do this. We, as the elected officials of this town, we just need to pay attention to what the hell we're doing. It's that simple.
This is where it's important, you know, as the mayor was saying, we're on Facebook, right?
Yes.
For the people out there, you know, this payment, you know, this is something where, this is what's matched, as Don said earlier. There's a lot of stuff that come about through the year and stuff that there's a lot of stuff, but it's millions that we have to match, right? We just don't have the funds to do that. So as the mayor was saying is, yes, we do need to watch what we're doing and what we're spending. But on the flip side of that is now we gotta figure out how to make more money for grants. So here we go, watch our spending, and we gotta make some more money for grants, so then we can get these type of, these grants, so it's easy, so we should be having these discussions that say, oh man, we gotta be worried, you know, bring it on, but we gotta find out what can attract us, what can make money for grants, so. The mayor.
With that, I'll make a motion that we pass
Who's watching
ordinance
TV over there?
20-1249.
Don't turn that crap down.
Are you second?
We got a motion and I have a second.
Second,
Councilor Padilla,
now he puts it on mute.
Councilor Fred, Padilla,
Counselor, you have to unmute. Counselor Padilla, you have to unmute to vote.
Councilor Lucero,
Yes.
Councilor Rodarte,
Yes.
Councilor Garcia.
Yes.
One more time, Councilor Padilla.
We can't hear you, sir, if you're trying to speak.
We'll take Fred's vote as a yes. I mean, that's something, we've got the 3 votes, okay? But I'm sure Fred's behind this, guys, we discussed this, and I know Fred's behind it, so.
Well, that's pretty much the same as the last one.
Yeah, so we'll move forward, that one is passed, okay? Next item on the agenda, First Street Phase 2 roadway joiners construction.
Mayor, Council, thanks for your support with the USDA resolutions. Laura, you were referencing the GO bond revenues.
Okay.
You're thinking for property taxes,
Okay.
anyway, just for your information. So anyway, items number 5 and 6, there's Wilson and Company is online to participate in the meeting to give you details of items number 5 and 6. So we're about to, or actually this coming week, First Street will go to bid. So the task order before you is for construction management. You guys could sit on it until you award construction, or you could award it now. I'll tell you what, it is nice to have an engineer on board during the letting process because they can negotiate the construction contract afterwards. So anyway, just FYI, so you guys don't have to award that tonight if you guys don't want. Anyway, my recommendation is that you do. the Washington Avenue. This project is about to finish. There's some funds left over, so that's the reason for the final closeout change order. Understand these items 5 and 6, these are NMDOT agreements, they're not loans. That's an agreement that we made with DOT, and we make a like a 25% match, or in this case, Washington Avenue Bridge was a 5% match. So that's why we try to utilize all the funds in the agreement. So if a contract's under the agreement, we go back afterward and do a change order to get all we can. So that's the reason that the reason for the change order number, final change order is the expansion of the project to Sage Avenue. There was like 80,000 left, so we're gonna upgrade those inlets and do the
So
sidewalk.
they heard me
over the
bitching,
bridge.
is that what you're saying?
Somebody heard you.
Somebody heard me bitching, right?
Somebody heard you.
Okay.
So anyway, my recommendation is that you guys approve it, and Wilson and Company is on board to give you a presentation.
That works for me, guys. I'm very pleased to hear that.
You're,
Very pleased.
hold on, can you hear Fred?
He's no longer on.
Oh, you're no longer on the Zoom call, you'll have to dial back into it. Okay, bye.
Is Mario giving the presentation?
Yes.
Mario, you'll have to unmute if you can hear me.
Where are we gonna see him at?
You actually have the paper.
Oh,
this
his
one here?
presentation?
I already read that.
Can you hear me, Mark?
There you are. Mr. Mario's on the line.
Good evening, Mayor and councilors. For some reason, I'm on both systems, and all I see is a blue screen on the virtual video. But I trust everybody has a PowerPoint presentation, is that correct? You have it in front of you?
Yes.
Very good. I'll go through First Street and Washington next. First Street, phase 2. Well, it's been a couple of decades, and actually, for some of you, the mayor may not be aware, these projects started back in '94. And at that time, the New Mexico Department of Transportation was conducting a scoping study for First, Second, and Roosevelt. Since then, here we are today, pushing the final phase from Washington to Roosevelt. A request was made to let the project for bidding on November 20th, and then DOT approved it on November 22nd. It's been a
What am
long
I hearing?
stretch and several hurdles, so Mark and Don are very familiar. The largest challenge, of course, has been the environmental aspects of this, coordinating with EPA and New Mexico Environment Department. Got their concurrence to move forward. We're happy to announce that the legal notice proof was approved this morning. It will officially hit the street this Wednesday, the 9th. We've got the project out for several weeks into mid-year January because of the size of the project and the timing. With the holiday, Christmas and New Year's around the corner, we want to make sure that we accommodate the contractors out there during the winter season and take their time into consideration. The task order before you is for construction management services for the paying 12 months. This is a person and a half on the field, meaning it'll be a full-time observer and part-time support in addition to field engineering. One of the unique things on this one, in an effort to control costs, is we are taking on the testing ourselves. That is usually not the case, but we will be conducting the testing ourselves for the reasons that I mentioned, and it includes all of the funding administration and project closeout. I do want to just recognize that I also have Chris Padilla, construction engineer, on the phone, as well as Eduardo Franco, who manages our field crews, on the phone as well. And so when we go to questions, we'll certainly pass it on to them if the council wishes. We added a slide that shows the overall funding. The spreadsheet is a little bit convoluted. What I want to point out is a total project budget is $6.2 million. Right now, total project construction, including lighting, is at $5,650,000. I'm using round numbers. We are putting the lighting as an additive alternate on that, just to make sure that we provide maximum flexibility. concurrent, because I know this is important, at least for mayor, on the lighting. Although we have the lighting in there as an adult, and it is in the budget, 5.6 million, we want to make sure that we have enough contingency in this project. Right now, we have 100,000, 104,000. Want to let the council know that we are in conversation with Continental Electric about the lighting. The reason we are is because typically on large projects like this, where a new customer is coming in this case, the city is a customer, you are going to be paying your utility bill for lighting. We are able to negotiate a lower cost for lighting infrastructure. So the goal is to reduce the amount of cost for lighting, and hopefully, if that can happen, then we'll increase our contingency. I do want to let everybody know that we have been in conversation
Hang on, Mario.
with Mr. Robert Castillo.
Hang on, Mario. Say that about the lighting again.
Okay, the $5,648,000 in the budget includes the lighting.
Okay.
The lighting is carved out as an additive alternate in the project. Reason we did that, Mayor, is one, we want to make sure it's in the bid, and two, we want to make sure we have the cost. But three, we want to have flexibility because we are working with Continental Electric to investigate their program with respect to often when a new customer, when you get lighting, the city has to pay the utility bill.
Here's something I was thinking, Mario, here's something I was thinking about along the lines of lighting, okay? Because it seems like no matter what we do with Continental Divide, we're not getting a break from them. Okay, no matter what we do, it keeps the same, okay? We're never getting a break from them. So maybe we need to look at these solar lights like we put in the park, like we put in at Mesa Park, we put in on a couple of the corners.
So those true.
Yes, okay? And cutting that cost totally out and going with something that is actually a renewable energy that actually proves to work and could save us a ton of money. I mean, it's probably gonna piss Continental Divide off, but we can work through that as we go, okay? Just as something for you guys to look at as we're going through this project, because we're talking millions of dollars in lighting. And if we can do something that is solar powered that works, like the ones that we put in already, because they've proven to work. Now, the question is, how long will they work? And how much does it cost when we have to replace that stuff? So those are a couple of things I want you to look at and get back to me with as soon as you possibly can. Concerning the lighting only, and please continue. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Mayor. I do, given that comment, yes, sir, Mayor, I made a note. We will look at the option for solar lighting, solar energy, in other words, for power generation. At a minimum, we do have the junction boxes and the conduits. We have the full design, but at minimum, we would want to recommend the conduit and the boxes while we're looking concurrently at possible solar lighting. So this does give you full flexibility to do that. We will report back, Mayor, if it's fine with you and the council, next meeting in January, just so that it gives us adequate time to make sure that we look at it thoroughly on the solar, but we will certainly bring it back to this board.
That'll be great. That'll be great. Okay, any questions for Mario?
Moving on.
Hang on, Mario. You guys got any questions so far?
No, sir.
Anybody? Fred?
No.
Rick? Fred?
Both Rick and Fred are muted, and so if you'd like to ask a question, please unmute.
No questions? Go ahead, Mario.
Overall schedule for First Street is we open bids in January. We bring it before council, second council, which is third week in January for your consideration to award. The notice of award and notice to proceed would be issued mid-February, with contractor mobilizing at the end of February of the month. This is intentional because of the winter season. And again, it's a 12-month construction schedule. Public notification will be made often, including updates throughout the 12 months. That concludes First Street. Again, I do have Chris and Ubaldo on the phone if there are other questions before we move on to Washington.
You guys got anything on this one? We're gonna go ahead and vote on this one, Mario, and then we'll move to Washington,
Yes,
okay? The pleasure of the council, my recommendation is go with it. We need to finish First Street now. Like he said, it's been decades.
2 decades, huh? Well, in that case, I'll make a motion that we approve First Street Phase 2 roadway and drainage reconstruction.
For 361, 46002.
Yes.
I second.
Second, okay, Councilor Rodarte,
Yes.
Councilor Garcia,
Yes, sir.
Councilor Lucero,
Yes.
Councilor Padilla.
He's still muted.
One more time, Councilor Padilla.
He's still muted. You have to unmute.
Star 6.
Is that yes, Fred? Call his phone.
I'm texting him now.
So while we're waiting, I wanted to clarify, this is construction management.
Yes, it's
Right?
not construction, it's for people watching it, what's going down.
So of the 6.31 in funding, this will go, so whenever we work for construction, we need to keep that in mind.
Yeah, the 300
The
comes
construction
out of that.
amount, because then whatever is additional, or we negotiate, you know, either.
And that's one of the reasons I wanted to look at the electrical. Anything we can do to keep.
I understand the lighting's about, what, 400, 500,000, about half a million.
But a lot of that's underground conduit, and so
Yeah,
if we
but
go
if we can-
solar, then you
For the solar, we
eliminate
eliminate all of that. But like I said, I wanna know how long those solar lights last and how much it costs to fix them when they go out. I got one on my flagpole, it's been there now 9 months, and it burns all night long. And I don't know what it's gonna cost to replace it yet. They said
So-
it'll last 5 years.
So yeah, the consideration would be that we would need our own crews to be able to do that in a good bucket truck.
That's fine, we got a good bucket truck, I mean, and even if we have to work it in where we hire a contractor to do it, whoever does the lights, if it's cheaper than what Continental Lights is giving us, guys, because we're really, everything that we've done, putting in the LEDs and stuff, that should be cutting down our price to where we could reinvest it, it's not happening.
Okay.
And there's no other way to put it. The numbers are not there, guys. When you look at them, they don't add up, period. So,
Well, I've seen those 2 up there and
they work.
got some
They're
good
working, guys. The one on the corner of Seville there,
Yeah.
So
I mean, my God,
Fred,
just
we're
got
gonna,
it.
we have you by the microphone, we'll let you vote.
Oh, I think we're gonna put him on speaker.
Okay, go ahead and vote, Fred. Okay.
Thank you very much, Fred. The next one, number 6, go ahead with Washington, Mario.
Okay, Mario?
Very good. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Washington bridge replacement. As Donald pointed out earlier, the project is nearing completion this month. The original award was $1.5 million. It is a 95% grant, 5% match. We put together a little spreadsheet in the following page that shows all of the dollar accounting. The project's been on schedule, contractor's done, to our knowledge, to staff's knowledge, a great job. We check in regularly, progress meetings are held bi-weekly. We understand that overall it's gone relatively well. The funding, there was a little bit of funding left over. As Don pointed out, the funding, if we don't expend it, you've got to pay back the 95% portion to the state. Because the purpose of the money, of course, is for the agreement to be expended. So in visiting with staff, the team had recommended to go ahead and continue paving east towards the intersection. And that dollar amount just took us slightly over the available funds to just under $3,300, including GRT taxes. So we do want to point out that in order to finish the rest of the paving, which is about 115 linear feet, it does cause for city to look at funding an additional $3,300 above and beyond the $1.5 million to get the paving done. I do want to point out that sidewalk, and we're replacing 2 street inlets on State Street. They really need to be replaced, so we are going to address the drainage right on the west leg of that intersection.
I'm just glad you guys heard me,
And then
Mario.
finally, we added a couple of photos for council to see what progress makes out there in case you haven't had a chance to get out there.
Was I complaining about that, Mark?
Yes, sir. We got it.
Hey, Mario, I'm glad you guys listened. Because I was starting to scream pretty loud about that stuff that was happening there. Go ahead, Mario.
So in short,
Yes, sir, Mayor.
for a $80,000 change order, construction management construction, it's gonna cost the city $3,300.
$3,293.22.
Exactly. Because that's the amount that'll be over the $1.5 million agreement with DOT. But we're using every dollar,
You bet you.
and so.
Any questions from the council? Fred Padilla?
You have to talk to him on the phone.
Any questions?
Any questions, Fred?
No, I have none.
Rick, you got any questions?
No, I'm good.
Fred?
I'm fine.
Eric?
No, sir.
I'll entertain a motion for $3,293.22.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Councilor Padilla? Tell her to go.
Yes or no, Fred? Yes.
Yes. Councilor Lucero?
Yes.
Fred?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes, sir.
Go. Man, that project is my day, guys. We're
Is that what
on
it,
that one.
is that what it looks like right now?
Yes.
Yes.
Sure is, man.
I've been meaning to go by there and
I
check
did
it
down
out.
there
It's
almost
a nice
every
project,
day.
very nice
Looks
project.
good. Came out
And see, the road was gonna end right there, but now we're adding all that, so.
all the way down to Sage. I'll get it to Sage. Thank you very much, Mario.
Thank you, Mayor and trustees, and just in case, and city manager and staff, Merry Christmas. You guys stay safe.
You bet you, because we don't plan on having another meeting till the first of the year, till New Year.
Same to you, Mario.
Thank you, Mario, and your whole team. Have a Merry Christmas.
Waste management, who's handling that one?
We have Dan Darnell on the line, and you have a presentation in your packets. Dan, we're ready for you. Can you hear us?
Dan, you're currently muted. You'll have to unmute. Dan, can you hear us?
Very good. Yeah, am I unmuted now?
Yes, we can hear you, Dan. Please proceed.
Awesome. Well, good evening, Mayor, Council, and staff. Thank you for allowing us to come before you tonight. I lost my video feed, so I'm just going to do the presentation via audio only. It's been a long time since we've been allowed to gather together, and this virtual stuff is kind of impersonal, to say the least, but it is nice to be with you virtually this evening. I hope everyone's staying safe. It's been a tough and an odd year for all of us. I have a very brief presentation to go over, just to look at the highlights of the 2 years as we head into the next year of our partnership. And I certainly hope that you feel that we've performed at or exceeded your expectations. We're so glad to be a part of the Grants community. It's not only a service provider, but also a local employer and a neighbor. In my presentation, I can quickly summarize our solid waste activities for both 2019 and 2020, and we look forward to our ongoing partnership with collaboration into 2021 and beyond. With me on the phone tonight is our new district manager, Justin Comfort. And if it's okay with you, Mr. Mayor, I would like to take a moment or two to introduce you to Justin and to ask him to tell you just a little bit about himself. Would that be all right?
Yeah, that's fine, Dan, but also know that I'm not afraid to meet with you guys in person anytime you want to bring your butts down here, okay?
Hey, I'd love to get out of my office. Leave my man cave and get going.
Okay, go ahead, buddy.
Hey, Justin, are you on?
Is
We
he
have
a,
to start 6.
is he a 503 number?
Possibly, yes.
He's the only one on the list.
Can you hear me?
There you are.
All right, it wasn't just a simple phone mute.
Sorry about that. Mayor, council members, thank you for having me today. I appreciate it. So my name is Justin Comfort, and I'm with Waste Management. I've been with the company for just over a year. I've got a pretty extensive background in the military. Been in the military for 15 years. Was in the Army for 6, and now I'm in the Air National Guard up in Portland. So I fly back every month to go do my drills. I've got 3 kids, 2 boys and 1 girl. My wife's Mallory, and then we've all relocated to Farmington. Other than that, I'm just really looking forward to getting to know the community, getting to know you guys, and working with the team. I'm really excited. Thanks for having me tonight. I appreciate it.
And Mayor, I'll put Justin over.
Please do. I would appreciate that.
I'm good for it too.
We can have a cup of coffee in the park or something, man. No big deal.
Okay. So, Justin and I will be working closely to address all the needs that you guys might have there in grants. Next slide, please. This is just a brief letter expressing to you how much the city of Grants means to us here at Waste Management. I just wanted to insert that in your PowerPoint. Next slide, please. We've set up a office site there in Grants, as you well know. It's under the direction of Justin, who you just met. The operation is overseen locally by our route manager, Robbie Ritter, and we also have lead drivers there. We employ 8 drivers and technicians. We utilize 12 trucks at the Grants hauling site. Next slide, please. Just as a refresher for some of you on the council, we're proud to serve and support our community in a variety of ways, and one of those is with the Waste Watch certification that our drivers have gone through. It's Waste Watch is an exclusive program which is only offered by Waste Management. It teaches our drivers to be extra eyes and ears for law enforcement, public works, and the Grants community at large. If there are things that you would like the drivers to watch for, all it takes is a phone call and we get that information out to our drivers. We're one of the only services that's going to drive on every street or virtually every street in town. So I would encourage you to use this should you need a ride. Our drivers will also proactively report suspicious activity, and they'll notify the city of road conditions or roadway hazards. Next slide, please. So, what we're taking a look at here is the combined 2019 and 2020 snapshot. And over the past 2 years, that's all of 2019 and so far to date in 2020, we've serviced approximately 2,900 homes and over 300 businesses and grants. Now, with weekly residential trash service and an average of 2 times per week commercial service, that adds up to a little over 15,000 touch points per month. And touch point to us is any time that we have an opportunity to interact with a resident or interact with the business. So that comes out to about 365,000 plus touch points for that 2-year period. And I just want to point out, if you look at the right side of that screen, the combined service success rate is 99.95%. Now we're going to contrast that to the previous 2 years in just a second, but we've had 34 missed pickups reported. We've had 120 courtesy pickups, and a courtesy pickup would be if I forgot to put my trash out, but I needed service, we'll come back and do it. And ETA inquiries, we try to make every effort to run our routes the same way so that people have some kind of consistent knowledge of when we're going to be there and that kind of thing. And if a truck goes down, or perhaps we have a temporary driver or a relief driver that is running the route a little bit differently, it might change the timing of when we arrive at a house. And so that would result in ETA inquiry. And our key, we look at these, is we want that number as low as possible. And those ETA inquiries really defines distancing in our term. And we only had 24 in 2 years. That's less than or about a month, one per month. So that's not a bad. that's not a bad deal. Now let's take a snapshot if we could. So next slide, please. This is a comparison from 2017 and 18, which was 99.54. Now we're at 99.95. In the previous 2-year period, we had 43 missed pickups. In this 2-year period, we had 34. So this really tells us a couple of things, and we look at these statistics to make sure that our guys are doing what their guys and gals are doing what they're supposed to do. But that tells us a couple of things, that we're pretty consistent year over year, and that our operation is focused on improving our service delivery every single year. So, you know, I'm happy with those statistics. You're never totally satisfied until you get 100% on that. Those are not bad statistics. So next slide, please. Mayor, Council, this really ends my presentation, but I'd like to open things up for comments or questions that the Mayor or Council members might have.
Mark, you go first.
Okay. Dan, can you hear me all right?
I can.
My name is Mark Teschma. I have a quick question. What's your typical, I know you're probably not prepared to answer, but if you wouldn't mind getting back to me, what's your typical load limits when your drivers are dumping at the transfer station?
You know what? I should know those. Justin, are you still on the phone?
I am, and I'm not familiar.
Hang on, the mayor says he knows. Go ahead, Mayor.
It's 83,000.
About 83,000 pounds?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Good info.
He used to work there.
All right.
That sounds about right, but I can confirm.
Okay, if you don't mind.
And by the way, I'm not questioning the mayor.
I used to work at the Solid Waste Authority, man.
Okay.
That's good to know.
Yeah, anybody else? Rick, you got a question?
I just have a comment.
Doing a great job.
Hang on, Barbara.
I like those stats, so looks good.
All right. If there's nothing else, I hope everyone.
Hang on. We ain't done asking all the counselors yet there, buddy. How about you, Eric? You got anything? No, sir. How about you, Fred?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead, Fred.
Dan, can you hear me?
I can.
I got kind of a comment question that I'd like to ask you. You know, solid waste, waste management has always made a practice. When the holiday hits, you usually, the houses that you don't pick up during that holiday, you pick them up the day afterwards, correct?
Yeah, if there's a holiday, now understand that the only time that we take off is when we have no place to take the trash. So if the transfer station is closed, then we would have to be closed as well.
And the transfer station closes for Thanksgiving Day, Christmas Day, New Year's Day.
Well, my question, Dan, is that I've received from just people in general in the city. Sometimes when the holiday hits and the trash doesn't get picked up, they say, "Where's my trash going to get picked up?" And I was thinking about it the other day, and just recently, the city has a program where when they have a water shut off, they send out emails, they send texts and voice emails to those that are hooked up to the system. Is there a possibility that maybe you could get hooked up with that system to advise people, hey, your trash wasn't picked up today, but we are making arrangements that will be picked up on tomorrow or the next day? That way people stay informed on that.
We do put that on Facebook.
Actually, Council, we actually use what we call an outdial. That outdial has an info blast that does text, it has a cell phone, it also has landline notifications on any interruptions. The caveat is that people have to sign up for that, and they do that through WM.com, which is the website that we have, or they can call our customer service number. Either one, and those numbers are, of course, you guys do the billing and take a lot of complaints and those kinds of things through your utility office, through Melissa and her crew, but they can certainly give them that information. Yeah, I think we can probably do a better job of explaining that to people, because that system is very robust. It's very similar to what you just described.
All right, thank you.
We use a program called Code Red, and so we can take those messages and send them out to those signed up for Code Red. Definitely.
Okay.
Anything else, anybody?
Yeah, and I think that's the key is that people have to sign up for these things, and getting that message out that they need to do that has been challenging.
Anything else? Thank you very much, Dan.
I just have a comment.
Oh, go ahead, Barbara, make a comment.
One day I happened to be, of course I'm driving every day, but this one day, it was a day when Waste Management was picking up. And there was a vehicle parked in front of the trash container. And so the Waste Management stopped, moved the trash container so he could take care of the trash. Okay? Another time I happened to be in my front yard and I didn't have my container out. And I wasn't going to put trash out that day, but he stopped and asked me if I had trash to put out that day. So these are just some of the things that I've witnessed, and I'm sure that many others in our community have witnessed some of these same types of courtesies that have been awarded to the community of grants. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dan.
Yes, sir. Very, very, very good, and I'll pass that on to our drivers as well. Thank you.
Next. Capital outlay items. You can't speak loud enough, Donald?
Well, I
Oh, man.
one there. So, after discussion with several key people in the city and the city manager and COG, the 4 items before you is what we are proposing for our capital outlay request beginning this year. There's a formal process to it through a website. So it's not like that last minute on Tuesday, call Julio and give him the project and put it in the system. That's gone. We have to go through this, have to have it in this formal request. And so anyway, prior to doing that, I thought I'd get your guys' approval in submitting these items for our
Well, I
capital
think the
outlay.
Washington drainage project should be moved in front of the golf course pump station for sure.
The Washington Avenue drainage improvements, that would be in addition to the CDBG of what we're going after.
Yes.
So it would just add more section.
Yes.
However, we are going for NMDOT funds for the rest of it, so we're applying. I mean, yeah, it's up to you guys, really.
That's the only suggestion I would make.
The golf course pump station, Mark could probably answer how great shape it is in.
It's terrifying. The whole thing is,
It's 30
the
years
whole
old,
golf
right?
course is terrifying when we're losing $800,000 a year out there.
Well,
Okay? And this year it's probably gonna be 1.25 million because we've been closed all year. Okay? So I mean, you bet you it's terrifying. Anything that happens at that golf course terrifies the crap out of me. What could we do with $1 million a year that we're wasting out there?
So it's about 30 years old, and it's in real bad shape.
Right.
So explain the pump, what does it do for the golf course and what does it do for the city?
So it's the irrigation pump house. So all of the ponds are actually storage ponds that it collects water throughout the winter months. And then in the summer months, they all go down to an irrigation pond. That pump house is situated there. It grabs that water and disperses it to sprinkler lines throughout the golf course. And so they're very powerful pumps. And they're all indoors, so it keeps them nice and tidy.
That's the pump house on the southwest corner.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. And so once that pump house on the inside, a lot of it's rusted out. A lot of the panels are very antiquated. And so we used to have to grab samples from that pump house. But because the NM environmental department looked at it, at the shape it's in, they actually cut it off from actually getting samples.
Samples because of the deterioration.
Exactly.
Kim Gardino took me in there.
What'd you think of it, sir?
Oh, it's a disaster.
Okay.
It's gonna blow up. So what is she explained to me, but you explained to me the ramifications if this pump goes out. What does it do for the city? What does it do?
So if the pump goes out, there will be no way to irrigate the golf course.
Okay, and then with that extra water, what do you do with it?
It would accumulate to the point to where it overflows, and that irrigation pond will elevation, that'll be the lowest point, and it'll begin to spill over.
To breach over to start getting in and go inside.
Yes.
So pond and whatnot, as far as if it does go out and we don't take care of it, you're gonna have that same problem that the residents did in Mount Taylor Addition with having water.
Correct.
Okay, so it is important.
To the tune of about 1 million+ gallons a day.
So,
Well, that tune there is too, that problem in Mount Taylor Addition's never been fixed.
Right.
Okay, it's still going on to this day. It's never been fixed, guys. All that money we spent on passive drain systems and everything else didn't work. None of it worked. So we still got that problem going on out there. I agree that maybe we should even move that golf course pump to number 1 to stop that. I mean,
I get you, Mayor, on wasting money at the
we're
golf course.
wasting money at that golf course, guys, every single day. And what we could be doing with that money elsewhere in our town to help out our entire community, instead of the 40 or 50 guys that play golf, would be amazing. Because everybody in this town is paying for it, and they're suffering. When you look at Balsam Avenue, you look at High Street, you look at any of them, Washington, it's just ridiculous.
I put the challenge out there for this coming year. 2020 sucked. 2020 still feels like it's gonna suck. So golf course is a capital asset to the community. I mean, it's something out there, it's something that we spent money on 30 years ago, whatever it was. So now we gotta figure out how we can retain people or have people come to our golf course from out of town. I-40, whatever it is, if it's marketing, if it's growing, taking some care in making our greens the best greens in the state, because that contributes to what we were talking about earlier with the mayor, is projects that we need money for. So it's an asset. I say if once we get back to being a better world, I say we just give it hell and try to figure out how we can make that golf course better. I know that it's going to take some time, but we can make that golf course in the top 10 in the state, because it is a beautiful golf course. I don't golf. I hate golfing, but I hate losing money too. So let's figure it out.
Hallelujah, because that's where I'm at, brother.
But you know what no one ever thinks about is what are you gonna do with the water that you're putting in the golf course? That's always been the question. You have a discharge.
remember, it's part of our wastewater
You
treatment.
gotta discharge it.
Right, it's
So,
part of the
and
treatment.
you would require a whole other permit at another level to put it in the arroyo.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's
It's a
catastrophic.
great
I said,
place.
now we might need to go to the very top. Because even if it fails, no matter what happens, we gotta be able to discharge that water onto the grass, period. And we still need to look at fixing why it's draining off through Mount Taylor Addition into Mr. Martinez's land that we're still paying the lawyers for, that is probably the bill now for just Gilbert Martinez is probably $6 million to Prayer Brown since we started this, back when you were on the council, way
Yeah.
back then. We still are paying them turkeys for this, and I guarantee you the lawyer bills, if you add the lawyer's bills into the losses of the golf course, it's $2-3 million a year, every single year.
If that pump goes out, is there a replacement? I mean, because that's the main item in there.
No, there's no replacement.
I think it's, every time it's gone out, it's been a special order, but there is redundancy. So it does allow for a little bit of time until that other pump gets in.
I only ask because I know if you want it, number one. Roberta's place I know is in dire straits from what I understand.
Those two need to be done, the other ones can wait, actually, if we have to.
So, well, there's one in.
Maybe there's a way we can combine those two to make them both number 1. Because without that sewer replacement line, guys, we end up facing fines and everything else from the sewer bills, from the environment department, and we'll face the same thing at the golf course. I mean, either way. So those two we need to get done, regardless. So maybe we can put 1A and 1AA.
Well,
I'm not even worried about the other two.
But in most cases, what I've seen what happens is the legislators learn of the amount that they're gonna have, and then they usually call Laura or
They'll
myself,
call and
then
ask what
Well,
are your
those are requesting
priorities.
their chops right now.
So we could just target those two items
So you bet you.
in the
I'll
next
get
two, in
Josh
case
and I'll
there's
get-
additional.
I'll get on Harry right now.
But these are all critical, you know.
Yeah, they're all critical, but those
items.
first two are way critical.
Okay.
Because those ones cost us money with the environment department. And believe me, those guys are worse than attorneys.
So if you want to specify the priority order in the motion, that's fine. However, you.
Like I said, we need to make those two the priority. So yes, we need to put one AA and one AAA.
What's that Washington Avenue drainage?
It's just an extension off of what we're doing on Washington.
We've done Jefferson, we've done the bridge, and now we're going down
I went
Washington.
down Washington to
Is
West.
that part of the other project? The one that we just talked about?
No, that one comes later.
No, that's Washington Bridge.
Yes.
That's
This
the
one is
second
Washington
phase.
Avenue down by the school, where the drainage through to that backland, where it goes right down the east side of the school, all that stuff through there.
From Anderman to
Yeah, all
The
that
bridge.
stuff from the school.
Oh, there was-
that area usually floods, has been flooded through the year. You look at the curbs and they're all deep,
Oh, okay,
eroded.
okay.
I mean, look, it's pretty sad. So that's the area that we're planning from Anderman to the bridge. And
That's my say, guys.
section.
And the
Those two there.
Sacaleras, what's that one?
That's just, we gotta put it on the burner at some point, and it's gonna be a
That's just the
long.
planning to get
Yes.
Sacaleras to 6 miles or 3. What is it? 3 miles, the 3 miles.
But that's just start the planning.
The planning, right?
PER and that kind of stuff, because here.
And
pretty
what's
soon-
the future of Sacaleras? I mean, it's, what, it's just, we just want to build a road, or are we
Well,
gonna build a 2-mile, $12 million, $6 million road for, what's that?
That's the reason for PER.
That's the area of open land, and so we're anticipating that's where the growth's gonna happen,
Yeah, no,
back in that
That's
area.
cool, because then, I mean, there's tons of land out there, so creating that great road, and that road's gonna feed a big process, and I hope to God that we can get the road to La Mosca, that's just a cutaway across the road also, at some point in time. But development, that side, you know, that Sacaleras is important.
The PER will consider 20-year out, so, and that area's always, it's been targeted as the next growth, you know, kind of like, so.
Yeah, okay. Well, cool, because we like to build roads, but.
Rick, Fred, you guys got anything to say about this?
Yeah, those are all important, so I think we should go after all of those. Those are all very good projects that we need to take care of.
Yeah, those two on the top two need to be prioritized though, buddy. The golf course pump and the sewer line out there at Roberta's. So I mean, the other two need to wait.
Yeah, the golf course always needs pumps. It seems like every so often they're having to replace a pump out there, so.
Fred?
I agree, let's go with, 1 and 1A.
1 and 1A. Okay. Well, I'll entertain a motion for 1 and 1A, guys.
Yes,
Wait,
Go ahead, Donald.
you mean domestic, reverse space number 1, pump station number 2, and then 3 and 4 don't matter, I mean, just put it in there, right?
We want 1 and 1A, Donald. You didn't hear Fred, okay? We want those two projects
So
funded. The rest of them
exclude the
don't
other
matter.
two?
And I will get with Harry, and I will get with Joshua Sanchez. I promise you, we will get those two projects funded, guys. I promise you that.
And put these
Between
other
Harry and
ones,
Josh Sanchez, we will get those funded.
and put these other 2 on the back burner?
Yes,
for now?
we'll put them till next year's ICIP when we got the money for those ones.
It's up to you guys.
That's what I say, guys. So ask for all four.
I would say all
Make
four,
sure
but-
that we prioritize.
We all know what 1A is right now.
So if I could jump in,
You bet you, Mark, that's why we pay you.
there's,
You bet you, buddy.
there's times when the funding agency will ask you where this was on last year's ICIP.
Yes.
And the year before. And so if there's a history of the planning, then you can say this has been in our top 5 for 4 years now.
That's why I say the pump ain't there, it's number 6. Where was Roberta's place at?
These are all on the ICIP, Roberta's place is not, however, on the item.
So Roberta's place isn't on it.
Whenever I made my calls, I did not get that one, so.
Well, that's fine.
The ICIP
I don't have a problem. Does anybody got a problem with that?
No.
Because I have no problem with fixing Roberta's place. They help a lot of people, guys. a lot of people that need help bad.
So this 150,000, what is it doing?
It's gonna replace that line.
Coming from the main line on Santa Fe?
This is right under the building,
No,
and this
the
just
road that's
isn't,
out there in the flats,
Yeah.
where it goes under her building and out to our line that goes to the wastewater treatment plant. That line's collapsed right there under the building. I don't know how far it goes.
so, and that won't even take the whole 150, there's
No.
other upgrades that are necessary at the shelter. So this is just 150 in
To give it
improvements,
to her.
including the sewer line.
Get things done out there.
So we probably need to make sure that we have that in the paperwork when we enter it in the system, that we give ourselves plenty of room to do other upgrades.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion to however you guys want to label this. Come on, Fred, give me 1A. There it is.
One and one.
Do I get a second for 1A?
I'll second it.
Councilor Fred Padilla.
Yes.
Councilor Rick Lucero.
No, what is 180?
1A, the golf course pump and the shelter.
Golf course pump and the shelter?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
Fred,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes, sir.
there you go. And make sure you put the other ones as B and C or whatever. But get 1 and 1A done. And I will get into their ears on these right away, guys. And I will stay in their ears till after the session. All righty. Number 9, Library Board. Anybody got any qualms with Miss Barbara Waxwell? Because I don't. I'll entertain a motion to put Miss Barbara Maxwell on the Library Board.
I'll make a motion to put Barbara Maxwell on the City of Grants Library Board.
Second,
Second.
Councilor Padilla.
Yes.
Councilor Lucero.
Yes.
Fred?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes, sir.
Last one, vacated portion of Lubbock Avenue. Did we get every penny we could?
Okay, so DFA requires a resolution to submit to them for approval of the land. So this is just the resolution we can send to DFA that we're doing a negotiated sale for the undeveloped property of Lubbock Avenue.
Any questions for Shannon?
Just one, Shannon. Do they have a criteria as to how that land is sold?
There's a whole list of things we have to give to DFA in order to get their approval to sell the land. And this resolution is one of them. We also have to get the deed, survey, appraisal, and all that we're working
Once all
on.
that's approved, do they have a criteria as to how it's sold?
No, this actually, it says
Or for the
negotiated
amount?
sale. And the amount, once we give it to them, then they can say yay or nay on the sale.
Do they set the amount or do we?
No, we have to set the amount, and that's unfortunately what the appraisal's for, because we have to show the value of the land.
Okay.
Any other questions? Resolution 20-1707.
I'll make a motion that we pass resolution number 20-1707.
Second,
Second.
Second.
Councilor Lucero.
Yes.
Councilor Padilla.
Yes.
Councilor Rodarte.
Yes.
Councilor Garcia.
Yes, sir.
Comments from the council. Let's see, Laura, you got anything?
I do not.
Okay, Rick, you got anything?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Fred Padilla, you got anything?
Yeah, this question is for Mark. Mark, what's the status on the wells? The water well number 1?
Say that again, Counselor?
Status on the wells.
Status on the wells. Well 3 is, let me talk into the microphone.
Yeah.
Well 3 is down.
Okay, what about the other ones?
Well 1 is up and running. San Jose booster pump is up and running. That is our only well currently. Well 3 was funded to get replaced, and we started the bidding process. We're currently in negotiations. Don has a better update on the financing portion of that. So currently, we're trying to hold off on fixing well 3 because we can run off of well 1 until well 3 is built. If that fails to be if that fails to provide the water necessary, we have Alpha Southwest and Laura's approval to move forward with an emergency PO to get that well 3 up and running. Does that answer your question?
Yes, and how long it's going to take when it's starting, Mark? How long is going to be the process to get that number 1 going?
To get well number 3 going?
Number 1 going.
Well, I don't understand the question. Well 1 is currently running, sir.
Okay, we'll go to number 3.
Yes, sir.
The one that's, we got funded for.
Well 3, the last time it went out, Alpha Southwest was on site within 30 hours.
So, but we're gonna leave it because it's gonna be refurbished. So what's the time frame of that?
I see. I understand the question. So, Don can help us out with the timeline because he understands the financing.
Okay, so the water trust board funded projects, apparently how it goes is, I didn't know this, I'm learning as I go too, so the water trust board awards it, it goes to legislature. The legislature awarded it last year, but now that the financing, the real dollars, you have to go through NMFA because they're the ones who finance the water trust board projects. Apparently, through the process, there were some glitches, so they're having to change the funding amounts from, I think, 60-40 or 70-30, whatever they were. I can't remember what they are right now. However, because the city had added some expenses, so instead, they're looking at giving the city a 90-10, 90% grant, 10% loan. So, but however, that committee doesn't meet until 2 weeks from this evening, or about a week and a half, on the 17th. And all 3 projects are going before the board again for reapproval. So that's just that approval, then it has to go back again. So we're looking at, well, number 3, probably the new funding that we'll get, it won't happen probably February, March. And I will keep you guys updated on those projects. The one that I'm worried about is well number 3, because they're the 3, I mean, the other 2 aren't as critical.
That's something that you might want to get with the engineers about and see how, I mean, we might have to go with an emergency PO for that. We can't have anybody without water, that's just stupid. I mean, then you got people sick all the damn time. Okay, I mean, we can't have that. So, if our water levels are down that low, then we need to look at getting an emergency PO for that damn well and getting it fixed.
The
So
water
let's pay
levels,
attention, like I said, because it's during the winter, so it's no big deal, everybody's watering and stuff, okay? But once we start moving forward to where people turn on their watering systems, the schools, stuff like that, well then, we need to pay attention.
one thing we could do preemptively is get a PO to get Alpha Southwest to pull the well and actually diagnose it. The problem is every time they touch anything, it's about 10 grand just to diagnose.
Not too
You
bad,
bet you,
yeah.
they gotta mobilize and get all their stuff there,
Sure.
to get that stuff out from the bottom of the ground. I mean, how deep is the well?
It's 300.
300 feet,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, that
You
might
know,
be worth doing
Yeah,
at this
and-
point.
And what, right now, I would suggest that the council go ahead and vote on that. It's in an open meeting, we're not hiding nothing from anybody. So I say we move on this, get an emergency PO, get it pulled, so we know exactly what we're doing, what we're paying for. And then as March comes with the funding, as long as we don't have to go into an emergency PO, then we go with it and we're right on schedule.
That's not something you have to vote on. I can approve that. It's under 20,000.
20,000, there you go. Go for it then,
Okay.
okay? There you go.
We should find out something on December 17th, whether
That's
it's.
okay, we'll go ahead and we'll start moving now.
Start
because
moving
we
on
don't
the
wanna
diagnostic.
Yeah, we don't want to get caught.
Okay.
We don't want to get caught with that kind of stuff.
Another thing Laura's directed me to do is to make sure we have redundancy at well 1 with a backup motor and a backup booster pump for San Jose. So backup booster pump is already in place at San Jose. We just need a backup motor for well 1.
Okay. That works for me, guys. Anything else, Fred? Fred Regarte?
Yes, I'd like to make a couple of comments.
Thank you very much, and you guys have a Merry Christmas.
Are we gonna meet again?
Thank you, Fred. January,
Oh, we're not meeting?
no, we're not going to meet again. And we planned this meeting so we wouldn't have to have one over the Christmas week, just like we did for Thanksgiving, you guys. Okay? So it'll be, I don't know, I can't get it right in front of my head, didn't make my phone.
January 4th
There you go.
is the next meeting.
There you go.
Mayor, if we do find out on December 17th that that funding has gone through, but in a different format, because the timing is so critical, we could award the project and pass a resolution, and the city would just have to cover the first payout of construction.
That's
until
right.
the funding is available. So I'm just.
Yeah, depending on where we're at.
Maybe a special meeting at the end of the month, just in case for round number 3.
Yeah, we might have to do that. But let's try not to.
Okay.
We can wait till the
Okay.
4th of January, that'll be better.
Okay.
Okay? Fred, you got, Rick already said it, Fred, you got anything?
Yeah, I just had a couple of comments. I want to commend Chief Steve Chavez for the outstanding job that's taking place at the police department. I got to get a little preview the other day of this big drug bust that they did, and nothing less than outstanding. Thank you very much, Steve, for the great job that you guys are doing over there. And I also want to commend the fire department. They're shorthanded, and yet they're out there taking care of business, and I think that's very commendable as well. And that's all.
Eric?
Yeah, to echo Mr. Redarte's comments on the police staff and team over there, Chief, you're doing an excellent job. It's very noticeable, and the trickle effect of what you guys are doing is going to pay big dividends here in the near future. Same thing with the fire department. I got to spend a little bit of time with them last week, and that's not an easy job. I think on both departments we take things for granted who serves and protects our community. I think we take for granted that when we make the phone call, 911, they both show up. It doesn't matter who you are, what your skin color is, what your religion, what your party affiliation is, whatever it is, they show up. They don't ask questions. So with all the hate in the world and everything that's going on, these men and women who serve us, it's very important that we show them respect. The trickle effect of the drug bust that they had the other day, or those drugs can get on the streets, and a scenario of, let's just say, my son at some point in time gets a hold of some drugs that were in the streets, and the trickle effect of what happens when you use drugs. So for them to stop the drugs or whatever they were going to take and distribute, they stopped it. The cops that rushed in, they have a SWAT team. They have a team that goes in there, and it's really awesome what these guys do. They're putting their life on the line so they can protect us. People don't see that. People don't see that they're rushing through the door, and that person on the other side could have a gun. They could end one of our police lives just right then and there. They signed up for this to serve and protect. And I think they're doing an excellent job, and the chief staff down there are doing well. And it goes to the same for the fire. Those guys next door at the fire department, that no one recognizes or sees what they do, because a lot of stuff that they do is at nighttime, or it's on the freeway. You're seeing them attend to an accident on the freeway, or a fire that they just had 2 nights ago on San Jose Drive. You know what? I actually went on the trip down there with them on the one on the freeway, and it's very sad that you're honking with lights on, and people don't have respect to pull to the side. They're trying to get there to save someone's life, and the respect that people are just like, whatever. It opened my mind, because I was sitting on that side of the table before I sat here, before I started to learn what the police were doing or the fire were doing. It in my mind, just like fire, they could have my son, my daughter, having to go in there, say I have a fire at my house. They go in there. You have Lieutenant Mays that goes in there, and Coy and Bry, and they have to go home because and tell their mom, Dad didn't make it today. That sucks. The men and women on the fire and the police put their life on the line every single day. And I'm just asking, you might not like them, but show them respect. You know what, these people in my mind are heroes. Those are heroes. So at the end of the day, Chief, thank you, and thank you for your team. Chief Hayes, I know you're out. Thank you for your team and yourself, and thank you for what you guys do. It's very important. So I want to thank the crew that put out the lights on the parks. I hate to put my lights up at my house. God, I hate it. I feel for those guys every year. But you know what? They make our parks look nice. I want to see our parks where we just got to find some money, basically. I mean, we could do a lot of things if we found money. I mean, we just barely tap into what we do on our parks with lights. I would love to see the river lights. I would love to say, where are we going this weekend? We're going to go to Grant's because they got some really nice light at their park. They got music or what. So that's just another dream that hopefully we can come to fruition at some point in time. And since the mayor's in a great mood, I'm going to make a funny little statement here. Did you see Ted Danson? There's a sitcom called The Mayor.
No.
I'm like, God, man, we could have had a show right here, But you know what? We have a dynamic group, and I'm going to say, you might view us and you see arguing or whatnot, but I think we have a really good team. Everyone in here, we might argue, but at the end of the day, we still talk, and we want to try to get things forward, momentum going. The mayor has been here for 14 years, and as he's talking of all the projects and stuff that they've done, and Mr. Rodarte has been here, it takes a long time to get stuff done. And the frustration that these guys have had, throughout the years and I'm getting it too. I'm getting it because it's not fast. Laura reminds me every day. Not every day, but a couple times a week. But anyways, I just want to tell everybody, have a Merry Christmas. Everybody in our community, mayor, council, manager, and everybody in the staff, chief, everybody who's in our community who helps to try to make our community better. Have a Merry Christmas, and thank you, everybody.
My turn. I got a few things. The first one is I want to say thank you to all the people out there that have supported me. All the cards that I have received throughout this crap that I've been through. I want to thank all the people that refused to sign the petition. They needed 966 signatures. They got 133. That thing is dead. It's over. They can't recall it. So I want to thank all the people that called me, all the cards that I got, especially Ben and Nancy Ortega, the Pena family, the Garcia family, the Chavez family. I really appreciate all of your comments, your cards, and your phone calls. They were very uplifting because this has been hell, period. The second one I want to thank is I want to thank the city of Roswell for standing up and saying enough and opening up their town and saying enough, just like I did. It's about time. Lee County's going to do it next. I mean, we can only stand so much of this, guys. The ETA killed this town. COVID ain't done nothing to us, period. The next thing I want to say is Christmas. I want to basically tell everybody, Merry Christmas, but let's not forget what Christmas is about, okay? It's not about the gifts and all the worldly things. It ain't about the decorations and the Christmas trees. It's not about the parties and all the little goodies and the food. Christmas, Christ Mass, the Mass of Jesus Christ. That's what it's about. The birth of the Savior of this planet. Period. That's what it's about. So all I will say is, Merry Christmas! On that note. The last one, today is the anniversary of Pearl Harbor. Okay? On that note, I want to thank every single person that has ever served this nation. Period. World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Desert Storm, Iraq, Afghanistan, the Civil War, the Revolutionary War, every single one of them that has stood up for this Constitution. But I especially want to thank the Marines that served with me overseas. Because you are real men. You're men, the few, the proud. And as they've all told me, you can't fix stupid, guys. And on that note, I'll entertain a motion to close this meeting.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Have a good night.